Okay. Well, let's call the meeting to order and ask the clerk to take the roll, please. And just for your information, we've got the small picture of you on the wall.
As soon as they talk, that might change.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see if we can get it switched over. Good morning. We call roll. Ms. Dunn.
Here.
Mr. Stovall.
Here.
Dr. Na. Dr. Moeller.
Here.
Mr. Weber.
Here.
Ms. Penner. Here. To the chair, we have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's well, hopefully everyone's had a chance to look at the consent calendar. Do we have comments or motion on the consent calendar?
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion to approve. Any public comment on that? Okay, if not, if the clerk would take the roll.
There was no public comment in Fresno and none online, so let me call for, or I have the motion from Ms. Penner. Do we have a second?
Oh, sorry about that.
I'll second.
Second by
I'll second.
Mr. Weber.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Dunn,
Yes.
Mr. Stovall,
Yes.
Dr. Moeller,
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Ms. Penner. Yes. Through the chair, motion passes.
Okay, thank you. And I guess we'll do the swearing in first here, then we'll discuss the order of the hearings. If you're going to be testifying hearing this morning, would you please raise your right hand? You do solemnly swear or affirm under penalty of perjury under the laws of the state of California that the testimony you shall give in the matters before this board shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Record should reflect that all responded affirmatively. Let's turn then to the public hearing portion. And the first thing we need to consider, I guess, is since we got the materials on the Kern River cogeneration facility a little late, is there any desire to move that to the end of the calendar, the end of the hearing agenda? Or yeah, I think everybody's had enough of a chance to take a look at that. So we'll go ahead then with the agenda as printed and call S2349X. Come forward and state your name and spell it for the record, please.
Morning, Cyrus Mojibi, CYRUSMOJIBI.
Okay, thank you, Cyrus.
Good morning, board members. Jeff Beecher, JEFFBEECHER.
You. Okay, so we will consider the petition as the petitioner's initial testimony, and if that's acceptable with you, and then we'll have a chance to respond after the staff report, which I believe, Estella, this is yours.
Yes, that is correct. Good morning, everyone. My name is Estela Soto, and I'm a senior air quality specialist here with the district. And before you is San Joaquin Refining Company. San Joaquin operates a heavy crude oil refinery that produces various products such as asphalt and ultra-low sulfur diesel. The diesel hydrotreating unit removes sulfur and nitrogen from diesel feedstock to meet the specification for low sulfur diesel motor fuels. Sulfur is recovered in the sulfur recovery unit, with gases produced in the sulfur recovery unit being further treated to remove sulfur in the tail gas treating unit. The recovered low quality gas is combusted in the thermal oxidizer, commonly referred to as heater H101. Heater H101 is fueled by the combustion of PUC quality natural gas and pressure swing adsorption of gas which is a stream of gases from the cyclic process that uses solid adsorbent beds to remove impurities. On December 17, 2020, District Rule 4306 was amended to require further reduction in NOx emissions. Under the amended standards, heater H101 is required to comply with a NOx limit of 15 ppmv at 3% O2 or lower. SJR was unable to source, purchase, and install equipment to comply with the requirements by the December 31st, 2023 compliance date as prescribed in Rule 4306, and they sought and were granted regular variance number S-23-49R by the District's Southern Region Hearing Board on February 14th, 2024. Said variance allowed SJR to continue to operate the heater H101 after December 31st, 2023, with NOx emissions higher than the 15 ppmv at 3% O2 or lower limit as specified by District Rule 4306 until the December 31st, 2024. Heater H101 is currently still not in compliance. SJR has identified a solution, the installation of a selective catalytic reduction system, and submitted an ATC application on March 15th, 2024, and they were subsequently issued ATC S-36-51-28 by the district on December 26, 2024. SJR ordered the equipment on March 28, 2024, and they plan to complete the installation by February 28, 2025. Since SJR was unable to have the equipment installed and complete emission source testing prior to December 31st, 2024, as required by the regular variance, they submitted a variance petition to extend the regular variance on December 17th, 2024. SJR is seeking an extension of the regular variance due to the fact that they have now sourced, purchased, and will be installing an SCR that is capable of both meeting the 15 ppm NOx at 3% O2 as prescribed by Rule 4306 and also allowing them to operate the necessary heat transfer for the hydro-treating unit and have scheduled emission source testing for March 18th, 2025. A lengthy shutdown of the heater H101 is required to complete the construction and installation of the SCR system. All hydro-treated product will cease while the heater is down. Therefore, SJR has requested an extension of the previously granted regular variance to provide relief from the requirements of district rules. The requested variance period would be effective from January 1st, 2025 to March 31st, 2025 inclusive, or until the SCR has been installed and the emission source testing has been performed, whichever occurs first. If granted, the variance would allow SJR to continue to operate the diesel treating unit with the existing burner with NOx emissions higher than those which are allowed in Rule 4306. The district believes that the required findings set forth in the California Health and Safety Code can be made and recommends that San Joaquin Refining Company be granted an extension of the regular variance with the conditions on pages 4 and 5 of the staff report. And that concludes the district's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Stella. Any questions for Stella? Not seeing any, then we'll go to the petitioner, see if you have anything you would like to add.
I'll just add a little context to that. Thank you very much. We are already shut down and have installed the majority of the SCR. So it's all installed and ready to go. We just need to apply some computer parts to it and then test it a little bit. So in theory, when we come back up, we will be operating in compliance. Of course, all these things always require a little bit of working the kinks out, but we are shut down. We did start that extensive turnaround on February 1st, and everything so far has gone according to plan, and we're, let's say, 90% complete on installation.
Okay, great. Any questions for the petitioner? No? Okay. See if we have any public comment. Not seeing any in Bakersfield.
There's no members of the public in Fresno and none online.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. With that, then we'll close the testimony portion of this and see if we have a motion or comment.
I can motion.
Okay, Mr. Weber.
All right.
Okay, so I move to approve
San Joaquin Refining Company's petition for an extension to a regular variance set forth in docket number S-23-49X with the required 6 findings of the Health and Safety Code adopted by reference as set forth in the staff report. The variance shall be effected for the period from January 1st, 2025 to the extension period to March 31st, 2025 inclusive, or until the SCR has been installed and emission source testing has been performed, whichever occurs first, and shall be subject to the conditions on pages 4 and 5 of the staff report.
Okay, motion by Mr. Weber. Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, second by Ms. Penner. And the clerk would take the roll then.
Okay, Ms. Dunn,
Yes.
Mr. Stovall,
Yes.
Dr. Mueller,
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Ms. Penner.
Yes.
Through the chair, motion passes.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, Dr. Mueller, didn't see the.
I'm not fast pushing the button.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, board members.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks. That's great. Oh, okay. Pass those down.
Through the chair, just 1 second. We're actually handing out the updated Kern packets. 1 second.
Right, yeah, just take 1 second. The Kern River Cogeneration will be the next. That's docket number S-2502I. We just take just a moment to let folks review things. Are they okay? Okay. So we will, again, we're on Kern River Cogeneration Facility, S-2502I. And if you'd please just state your name for the record and spell it.
Cole Sarver, S-A-R-V as in Victor, E-R.
Okay, thanks, Cole.
Chris Rickards, R-I-C-K-A-R-D-S.
Thanks, Chris. Thank you. And as usual, if it's okay with you, we'll consider your petition as your initial testimony. We'll then go to the staff report, and then you'll have a chance to add anything that you would like afterwards. And Chris, I think this is yours.
That's correct. Good morning, everybody. My name is Chris Clash. I'm an air quality specialist here with the Air District. Before you this morning is Kern River Cogeneration. They operate 4 75 megawatt natural gas fired combustion turbines, which generate electric power for commercial sale and steam for enhanced oil recovery. District rules and Kern's permit conditions require them to certify, maintain, operate, and quality assure a continuous emissions monitoring system, also known as SEMS, that's designed to measure and record the NOx, CO, and O2 concentrations of the exhaust gas in order to help demonstrate compliance with their emissions limits. Kern has determined that the existing SEMS is approaching the end of its life and that the hardware consisting of analyzers and sample lines will need to be upgraded to ensure proper operation of the SEMS in the future. Kern is seeking a variance to allow them to continue to operate while the new analyzers and sample lines are installed, tested, and the SEMS is recertified. During the variance period, the emissions control equipment will continue to function as designed, and Kern will log all operating data in order to demonstrate compliance with the emission limits of their permit. No excess emissions are expected. The facility applied for this on January 20th, 2025, and for the time period that they're looking for, which is going to be from February 13, 2025 to September 30, 2025, That would require a regular variance. And so given that we have to have a 30 public day notice period, they went ahead and submitted the interim, which will then roll in to a regular. Part of the crux of that is that the assumption that the facility will meet, there is some certainty that the facility will meet the 6 findings in the subsequent hearing for the regular variance. And again, as I said earlier, this requested variance period that they're looking for is February 13, 2025 to September 30th, 2025. And that's inclusive or until the petition for the regular variance is heard and granted. The district believes a good cause as set forth in the California Health and Safety Code can be made, recommends that Kern River cogeneration be granted an interim variance with the conditions on pages 3 and 4. And this concludes the district's presentation.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris. Any questions for Chris? Okay, if not, go to the petitioner, see if there's anything, Chris or Cole, if you'd like to add.
Yes, I would like to add that we are going to perform a CGA audit on each of the new analyzers as they're cut over. So that should get us within specification and operating as close to compliance as we can with those certifications. And then we will do all of our proper source testing as scheduled on our anniversary dates.
Okay, thank you, Cole. Any questions for Chris or Cole? Okay, seeing no questions, do we have any public comment? Nothing here in Bakersfield, anything in Fresno?
No members of the public and none online.
Oh,
Please give me a minute. Okay, we're back.
All right, I wanted to make one change here. The regular that they're going to eventually apply for, they're looking to go out till September. But for the purposes of approving this, if it is approved, the interim can only have a 90-day period. So, and we're anticipating they're going to submit that before that anyways, but we can only be approved for 90 days. So that'll be to February 13, 2025 to May 14, 2025. And that'll change. What'll end up happening then is that'll make a change on page 2. And that will make a change on page 3 as well. And it'll make a change on page 4 because by changing it now to that May 14th date, that'll change when the summary report will be due. So I'll make those changes after, if it's approved.
Okay. Everybody get those dates. Okay. Petitioner, okay with that? May 14, 2025.
Yes, that's correct.
Changes the summary.
And then it's
Yeah.
May 29 for the summary report.
Oh, 20, okay,
Okay.
sorry.
For condition 10.
Okay, and just to check, any public comment? Not seeing any in Bakersfield.
None in Fresno or online.
Okay, thank you. Well, with that, we'll consider the testimony on this one closed and see if we have comments, motion.
So is this an interim or a short variance then?
This is an interim.
Interim.
Yes.
I can motion. So I move to approve Kern River Cogeneration Facilities petition for an interim variance set forth in docket number S-25-02I upon the basis that a good cause exists as set forth in the staff report and that there is likelihood that the 6 findings required by the Health and Safety Code will be met at a later hearing. The variance shall be effective for a 90-day period that should be effective from February 13th, 2025 through May 14th, 2025, or until the petition for a regular variance can be heard, whichever occurs first, and shall be subject to the conditions on pages 3 and 4 of the staff reports with the new updates made to page 4 as well.
Okay. Thank you. Motion by Mr. Weber. Do we have a second?
Seconded.
Second by Ms. Dunn. If the clerk would take the roll, please.
Thank you, Ms. Dunn,
Yes.
Mr. Stovall,
Yes.
Dr. Mueller,
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Ms. Penner.
Yes.
Through the chair, motion passes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thanks, folks. That's granted. Got the next one too. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So this is, make sure. Got the number right here. We're going to S-2503I, Sycamore Cogeneration Facility. And the petitioners are the same as for the Kern River Cogeneration Facility. So we'll go ahead and again, just we'll consider your petition, your initial testimony. And let's see, Chris, I think this is yours as well.
That's correct. Again, my name is Chris Glashen. I'm air quality specialist here at the Air District. Before you this morning is Sycamore Cogeneration. And before we even start, I'll just make you aware that the dates that we heard in the previous petition are going to be the same. So there's going to have to be the same changes that are made, pages 2, 3, and 4. So what this facility does is they have 4 75 megawatt natural gas fired combustion turbines, which generate electric power for commercial sale and steam for enhanced oil recovery. District rules and Sycamore's permit conditions require them to certify, maintain, operate, and quality assure a SEMS designed to measure and record the NOx, CO, and O2 concentrations of the exact exhaust gas in order to demonstrate compliance with their emissions limits. Sycamore has determined that the existing SEMS is approaching the end of its life and that hardware consisting of analyzers and sample lines will need to be upgraded to ensure proper operation of the SEMS in the future. In addition to that, during a site assessment in 2022, it was determined that the hardware control systems for each of these 40 units, which have been in place since the mid-1990s, needed to be updated. Sycamore has plans to upgrade the system on unit number 4. During the commissioning of their new hardware control system, function and reliability testing is required to ensure safe operation. This testing is expected to take approximately 4 to 6 weeks and will require that unit 4 be operated at variable loads. During the testing, Sycamore expects NOx and CO emissions to exceed the permitted limits, and they have estimated that NOx and CO emissions could each be as high as 500 pounds. Again, this is an interim variance, which was submitted to the district on January 20th, 2025. And because they need to have a regular variance for the time frame that they're looking at, that we were not able to meet that 30-day public notice period. So this will be heard at a later date to potentially have rolled over into a regular variance. And part of that understanding is that the facility will be able to make the 6 findings at the subsequent hearing. This requested interim variance period would be effective from February 13, 2025 to May 14, 2025 inclusive, or until the petition for the regular variance is heard and granted. The district believes that good cause is set forth in the California Health and Safety Code can be made and recommends that Sycamore be granted an interim variance with the conditions on pages 3 and 4 in addition to the changes on pages 2, 3, and 4. And this concludes the district's presentation.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Any questions for Chris? Okay, not seeing any. Anything the petitioner would like to add?
Nothing to add at this time.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for the petitioner? Okay, not seeing any questions. Do we have any public comment? Not seeing any in Bakersfield. Any in Fresno?
No public comment in Fresno or online.
Okay, thank you. So we'll consider the testimony portion of this closed and see if we have comments or a motion.
I'll take a motion on this one.
Okay, you're doing, yeah, you almost do it here.
Okay. All right. All right. So I move to approve Sycamore Cogeneration Facilities petition for an interim variance set forth in docket number S-25-03I upon the base petition for an interim base set forth in docket, sorry, S-25-03I upon the basis that good cause exists as set forth in the staff report and that there's likelihood that the 6 findings required by the Health and Safety Code will be met at a later hearing. The variance shall be set forth for a period from February 13th, 2025 through May 14th, 2025, or until the petition for a regular variance can be heard, whichever occurs first, and shall be subject to conditions on pages 3 and 4 of the staff report, which includes the updates on pages 2, 3, and 4.
Okay, motion by Mr. Weber. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. It was kind of a tie. I'm going to give it to Dr. Mueller. He was just a little slow. So second by Dr. Mueller. If clerk would please take the, and the motion by Mr. Weber, second by Dr. Mueller. If clerk would take the roll, please.
Yes. Ms. Dunn,
Yes.
Mr. Stovall,
Yes.
Dr. Mueller,
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Ms. Penner,
Yes.
through the chair, motion passes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. It's granted. Let's see. What are we at here? Next up is S2504S. That's a short variance for Era Energy LLC. I guess, and Midway Sunset Cogeneration Company. Come forward and please state your name for the record, and don't forget to turn your microphones on there and spell it if you would.
Pam Parks, P-A-R-K-S, Era Energy.
That's easy. Okay.
Greg Jans, J-A-N-S, with Midway Sunset Cogeneration.
Okay. Let me see. As usual, we'll consider your petition, your initial testimony, and then we'll go to the staff, and then you'll have a chance to respond or add anything you like. That's okay. So, and this one is, I think, Shannon, that's yours.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. My name is Shannon Moore. I'm an air quality specialist at the district. Before you this morning is Era Energy LLC, which is doing business or permitted to operate as Midway Sunset Cogeneration Company to produce electricity and steam used in Era's thermally enhanced oil recovery operations. The cogeneration facility operates 3 gas combustion turbine engines, units A, B, and C. The subject equipment for this petition are units A and C. Due to the declining steam demands and increasing demand for electricity production, ERA modified the permits to allow operation of the combustion turbines in simple cycle mode as peaker plants. In order to meet the permitted NOx emissions limits while operating as peaker plants, ERA installed new combustion systems into units A and C. Due to the design change of the new combustion systems, ERA needs to test and tune the turbines to ensure the new components will reliably operate within permitted limits. The turbine manufacturer has recommended a 6-day commissioning period to test and tune the new combustion systems. Each unit will require a 6-day testing period, and during this period, NOx and carbon monoxide emissions are expected to exceed permitted limits. Therefore, ERA has requested a short variance from requirements of the applicable district rules in addition to the applicable conditions of the subject permits. The requested variance period would be for 12 non-consecutive days between February 1st, 2025 and March 31st, 2025 inclusive. If granted, the variance would allow ERA to operate the subject turbines with excess NOx and carbon monoxide emissions while they test and tune the new combustion systems. ERA has estimated excess emissions will not exceed 2,962 pounds of NOx and 224 pounds of carbon monoxide. The district has reviewed the calculations and finds them to be adequate for the variance purposes. The district believes the required findings as set forth in the California Health and Safety Code can be made and recommends that ERA Energy doing business as Midway Sunset Cogeneration Company be granted a short variance with the conditions on pages 3, 4, and 5. That concludes the district's presentation.
Okay, thank you, Shannon. Any questions, Shannon? Not seeing any. We'll go to the petitioners. Anything you'd like to add or?
No, I have nothing to add.
Nothing from any questions for the petitioners? Okay, if not, we'll go to public comment. Any public comment here in Bakersfield, Fresno, or online? Nothing in Bakersfield.
And in Fresno or online.
Okay, thank you. With that, then we'll close the testimony portion of this and see if we have a comment, motion.
I'll take it. I'll motion.
Okay.
All right. I move to approve ERA Energy LLC's petition for a short variance set forth in docket number S-25-04S with the required 6 findings of the Health and Safety Code adopted by reference as set forth in the staff report. The variance shall be for a period of for 12 non-consecutive days between February 1st, 2025 and March 31st, 2025 inclusive, or until the testing of combustion turbine units A and C is completed and the units are returned to compliant operation, whichever occurs first, and shall be subject to conditions on pages 3, 4, and 5 of the staff report.
Thank you, Corey. So motion by Mr. Weber. Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, Dr. Mueller again, please. Okay. Motion by Mr. Weber, a second by Dr. Mueller. The clerk would take the roll, please.
Okay, Ms. Dunn,
Yes.
Mr. Stovall,
Yes.
Dr. Mueller,
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Ms. Penner.
Yes.
The chair motion passes.
Okay, thank you. It's granted. Thank you. Let's go then to S-2505S, another short variance for Chevron USA, Inc. A petitioner, just again, just state your name for the record and might make sure your microphones are on and spell it if you would.
Kurt,
Yeah, you just push the little button there.
Kurt Eknoyan, Eknoian.
Javier Bonilla, last name Bonilla.
Thank you. And again, we'll consider your petition, your initial testimony. And let's see, Will, I think this is yours.
Yes, it is. Good morning. My name is Will Kuhn, and I'm an air quality specialist here at the district. And before you today is Chevron USA, Inc. And Chevron operates equipment associated with the production and storage of crude oil and gas at the Con 3 oil plant oil cleaning plant within the Lost Hills oil field. The facility utilizes a series of tanks to receive, process, and ship crude oil. The tanks are connected to a vapor recovery system that collects vapors and sends them to a disposal device. Chevron needs to replace a portion of vapor recovery unit piping and 2 oil skimming units. Chevron is requesting a short variance to allow the tanks to continue to store crude oil that are not served by the VRS and to allow the tanks to vent while Chevron performs the work. The variance is necessary to safely conduct maintenance or repair work that requires a disconnect of a portion of the tank from the VRS. Excess emissions are estimated not to exceed 377.7 pounds of VOCs over the duration of the variance period, and the district has reviewed the aforementioned calculations and finds the calculations to be an adequate approximation for the variance purposes. Chevron would need to shut in production during the cleaning process through the variance period until they bring the VRS back online. Based on daily oil production of 6,500 barrels and crude oil prices of approximately $75.20 per barrel, Chevron would lose approximately $487,000 per day. This large economic loss would negate any benefit a closing or taking would have in reducing air contaminants. Chevron has requested a short variance from the applicable requirements of District Rules 2070, 2201, and 2520, as well as 4623, in addition to the applicable conditions of the subject permits. The requested variance period would be for a non-consecutive 10-day period to occur sometime between February 12th, 2025 and May 12th, 2025 inclusive. If granted, the variance would allow Chevron to continue to store VOC-containing liquids in the subject tanks without an operational or functional VRS while they conduct the proposed work. The district believes the required findings as set forth in the California Health and Safety Code can be made and recommends that Chevron be granted a short variance with the applicable conditions on pages 4 and 5. And this concludes the district presentation.
Thank you, Will. Thank you. Any questions for Will? Not seeing any. Anything the petitioner would like to add? No. Nothing to add by the petitioners. Any questions for the petitioners? Not seeing any questions. Let's see if we have any public comment. Don't see any in Bakersfield.
No public comments in Fresno or online.
Okay. With that, then we will close the testimony portion of this and see if we have comments or a motion.
I guess I'll do this one.
Okay, give Mr. Weber a break.
I move to approve to Chevron petition for a short variance set forth in docket number S-25-05S with the required 6 findings of the Health and Safety Code adopted by reference as set forth in this staff report. The variance is going to be, shall be effective for the period of, let me see what it's saying here. Look at me. Okay, there you go. February 12th, 2025 through May 12th, 2005 inclusive, or until the proposed work is completed and the VRS is returned to the compliant operation, whichever one occurs first. And of course, they shall be subject to the conditions that are set forth on pages 3 and 4, no, 4 or 5 on the staff report, I think. 4 and 5. I got it.
Okay, motion by Ms. Dunn. We have a second. Second by, maybe you should say it aloud for the record.
Second.
Okay, just so the record's complete there. Second by Ms. Penner. And we'll ask the clerk to take the roll if you would.
Yes, Ms. Dunn,
Yes.
Mr. Stovall,
Yes.
Dr. Mueller,
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Ms. Penner.
Yes.
Through the chair, motion passes.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. That's granted. Thank you. We'll turn then to the next item on the agenda, public comments. I'll read the required statement. This time is made available for comments from the public on matters within the board's jurisdiction that are not on the agenda. It is requested that no comments be made during this period on items on the agenda. Public may make comments after each board agenda item during the time allowed for public comment. Additionally, state law prohibits the hearing board from acting on matters that are not on this agenda. Not seeing anything in Bakersfield. Anything in Fresno?
No public comments in Fresno or online.
Okay, thank you. Next, hearing board member comments. Thanks to Mr. Weber for being quick on the draw there. But as usual, staff did a great job on a relatively long agenda here. Anything else from? Hearing nothing else, then I guess not aware of any new business. And with that, then our next scheduled meeting is March 12th, 2025. And with that, I think we are adjourned. Thanks, everyone.
Thank
you.
Thank you.